All right, you lot, game week 4, but first of all, let's rewind a little bit after a crazy weekend last weekend. So many difficult decisions to be made if you want to get those Van League picks correct. 6 out of 13. Sounds like it's not that great after all those, mad results. However, out of the pundits, Alcott sitting on top. 6 out of 13. Yeah, it's not great, but 5 out of 13, Ian McIntosh. Not good enough. Sven, supposed to be a decent manager. You don't seem to know your onions when it comes to your picks. Certainly not last week. My Sven Detta continues though, because his overall average is at 9 out of 13, whereas mine is 8. So that's the next mountain I've got to climb. But that's why I'm here now, to enjoy a bit of that. Look at that. Okay, let me just get out of the way so you can see that. Winning. I won a week. I'm very, very happy about that. Gaffer, you're supposed to know your stuff as well. You don't know anything. 5 out of 13, not good enough. This weekend, however, I've got my picks here. I'm going to go through my bankers, my upsets, and my half hedges. Half hedges, if you don't know what that means, that's when you can kind of half your bets, essentially, and pick 2 people. It costs you a tiny bit more, but if you want to get 10 or above and make some money, then you need to do that. There was no one was able to get 10 or above out of 13 last week. So the money rolls over to this week. So make sure you get your bets on this week and see if you can make some money. Surely it can't be that crazy again. So let's get into my picks. And this week, the 13 games that have been chosen are tricky. But one banker I feel is one that I'm really confident about is Newcastle versus West Ham. I think this one's going to be a draw. Rafa Benitez been very clear in what he's saying about the transfers that he needs. But West Ham seem to be struggling as well. There's a feeling that they won't put any effort in, that they're still in pre-season. Somehow clawed back those 2 goals, but Charlie Austin beat them right at the end. But this is a game that both of them will kind of look at and go, we can get some points here. The good side of that is that if it works out and you get those points, then you are a very happy squad and you look like you're about to turn the corner. The opposite is if you lose, you can't imagine losing that game for both Newcastle and West Ham. And because of that, I think this is definitely going to be a draw. I think it's going to be a draw. What I have done, and I haven't even put, I've half hedged this one. That's the only thing I can see is maybe Newcastle roar of the home crowd. They need that win, maybe. And they did dominate in periods against Huddersfield last week. That might make it a little bit more likely that they might get something out of it. So I've halved this one. I've done a half hedge and I'm going for a home win in terms of that half hedge. But overall, I feel like this is a banker for a draw. Right, my second banker, West Brom versus Stoke. Pulis has always had it over Stoke since he's left them as manager. Of course, he spent a long time there and did very well. 6 games, since Stoke beat West Brom last. 6 points out of 6. They've had a great start so far. Stoke City, a little bit dodgy at the back. They're not that Stoke side that Pulis created, and I think he'll know how to pick holes in them like he has done in the past. So that feels like an absolute home banker. And West Brom, a team that no one really enjoys talking about because it isn't the most pretty of football. I think they could well be top of the league come the end of this weekend. You heard it here first in James's picks. My final banker, Tottenham at home, battered Chelsea. Let's be honest. I thought they were going to get rid of the hoodoo, weren't able to do it. Marcos Alonso with 2 great goals, snatched it from them. But don't worry, Spurs fans, you've got such a good team there. And Burnley, I think that was a bit of an anomaly against Chelsea in that first game. They had 2 players sent off during the game. That's going to give you a great chance. I think they're going to struggle this year, Burnley, and I think they will definitely struggle against Spurs in this game. Spurs will win it. I'm certain of it. It has to happen. They're a good side, and this Wembley nonsense, I don't want to talk about it for too long, so hopefully they will win that. So I've got that down as a banker. On to my upsets. Now, it's tough. There's a lot of really close games, and that's why the half hedges are really good, actually. This week, I think I can see a lot of people using a lot of half hedges just to kind of give themselves a chance of getting that 10 or above where you can make some wicked money. So my first upset, Ipswich versus Fulham. Ipswich on fire. No one saw that coming. No one thought Waghorn and Garner were going to have the kind of form that they've had in these first few games. They got a little bit lucky against Brentford in the last game. Brentford have had more shots than any other team in the Championship, and they had a hell of a lot of shots against them as well. But Ipswich got the result. So on paper, it looks like this is one that Ipswich could win, especially at home. However, Fulham have got one of the best teams in the league, in my opinion. I see them as probably one of the favourites for automatic promotion, if not the playoffs. So as an upset on paper, but not in my eyes, I can see Fulham winning this one away at Ipswich. Second upset, Manchester United versus Leicester City. Everyone is raving about Manchester United. Yes, they look very, very strong. But what you've seen in this Premier League season is just how tough it is to beat any team, let alone those top six. And it's only Man United who've got full points out of those first two games. And I think they're going to kind of falter. I think that everyone's getting way too excited about Man United. There's still a lot of good teams and teams that can hurt them. And I feel like Leicester might be the side that can do it this weekend. Can play on the counter-attack, do play on the counter-attack very, very well. Vardy's looked sharp so far, so has Mahrez. Great win against Brighton after playing well against Arsenal. And I think going away to Old Trafford, I think they can get something out of it. So I've put this down as an upset. I've put this down as a draw. But again, home advantage to Man United. I've half-hedged this one. And I think Man United could, of course, get that third win in a row. But I think Leicester have got a chance. So that's my upset. And my final upset this week is Chelsea versus Everton. The game on Sunday. Everton did well against Man City. Of course, Kyle Walker got sent off, which made it a little bit easier for Everton. And I think there's a good feeling around Everton. I think they're used to playing difficult games. They're going to have to play. They've just played a tough game away at Man City. Another tough game against Chelsea, but they got a decent break to get themselves ready and prepared for it. Chelsea, it was a good win, a great tactical performance by Chelsea against Spurs, but at home where they should be maybe dominating a game against Everton, I think this could be a difficult one. And I think, what have I put down here? I've put down another draw. I think Everton will be happy with that. And I think Chelsea aren't as strong as people think, despite that win against Spurs last week. So those are my upsets. Half hedges, a few other half hedges that I've put down. I've gone for a Liverpool win at home against Arsenal. Arsenal often lose 2 games on the trot. That's how it works. That's how it worked last year. So I'm going with that cliche. But anything can happen with that one. So I've definitely half hedged that for a draw. I kind of wanted to triple hedge it and put down an Arsenal win as well, because I really can't see how that one's going to end, but it's going to be a cracking game, no doubt about it. Other ones that I've hedged, what else have we got here? Chelsea have half hedged, yep. They could, teams at home are always going to do well. I think there's like a 20% swing when you're trying to pick one side or the other. And if a team at home advantage makes a massive difference for me. And I think, so that's why I've half-hedged that one. Same with Man United. Birmingham Reading. Harry Redknapp having a go at his squad, saying they're not good enough last week in the press. I've gone for a Reading win. Obviously, they're in playoffs last year, and I think they're a good side, and Birmingham aren't as good as everyone thinks. But again, that home advantage, I think it's always good to half-hedge if you've got a gut feeling for the away team. But home advantage makes a massive difference, so I'm going for a draw there as well. West Ham, as I said earlier, half-hedged. That could be a Newcastle win. I can't see West Ham winning that one. Half-hedged, Huddersfield versus Southampton. I think Southampton would be too strong for them, but the home advantage and the momentum that Huddersfield have got could make a difference, so I've gone for a draw there. And finally, Crystal Palace versus Swansea. I've gone for a home win here. I think they need the win, and I think that will be enough for them. However, Swansea are quite resolute under Paul Clement. The defence is a lot better than it used to be. And I think because of that, they might be able to get an away draw. So I've half-hedged that one as well. So those are my picks this week. Hopefully, I can get my average up and hopefully get over 10 to get some money for a charity of my choice. And most importantly, get a bit of distance between me and Sven. Because he's the guy I'm after, let's be honest. It's Sven-Göran Eriksson. If I can beat him this year, then I've had a very, very good year. So those are my picks. If you want to follow my progress, then you can do that, of course, on the Fan League app, which is available to download right now. And you can check out what Ian McIntosh and Sven-Göran Eriksson and the Gaffer have done as well. Make sure you go check all that out. You can see all those picks and their thoughts on it as well. If you want to follow me on Twitter, @JamesAlcott, I'll be talking about my picks as the weekend goes on. And if you fancy checking out my podcast as well, then do it. It's called Great Touch for a Big Lad. You can search it on iTunes. Most importantly, Follow Fan League at Fan League and download the app and come play along if you think you've got the knowledge. See you next week.